We are now recording.
Okay. Just for the record, I am going to repeat what I mentioned off the record, and that is that I am going to conduct the roll call and introduction of our new members, Ben Samuels, James Neely, and hopefully Edward James, and then turn the meeting over to your new chairman. So I'll start off with the roll call. Deborah Carter.
James Carter.
Linda Camp.
I think that's all of us, Deborah.
No,
I would like to include
our new
everyone
members
on the-
are on,
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about
a
that.
couple of them.
Can we just include everybody that's on the webinar, please? Like we normally do.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. This is Talby Roach. I'm the president and CEO of Bi-State Development. Chuck, why don't you take it from here?
all right, Chuck Stewart, Chief Operating Officer by State Development. Tammy?
Tammy Fulbright, CFO by State Development.
I'm Tom Curran. I'm Executive Vice President of Administration at Bi-State.
Kevin Scott, I'm the General Manager of Security for Bi-State.
Ed Zimmerman, I'm Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Bi-State Development.
Chris? I'm sorry, did I miss you, Chris?
Your council liaison.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Jeff, oh, go ahead. Did I miss somebody?
I'm Adam Spector. I'm the North and West Area Engineer for St. Louis County.
How could I miss you, Adam? I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was hiding.
Oh, and Ray Golick, South Area Engineer, St. Louis County Transportation.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and start with the introductions and hope that Mr. James will be here by the time we get to him. But in the event that he's not, Matthew, I know you gave me a directive, but I'll just ask if he is not here, should I continue with the meeting?
Yes, Deborah, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, all right. So let's start with, I just lost my page. Let's start with Mr. Samuels. You can make any comments that that you feel are necessary.
Good to meet everyone and see everyone. My name is Ben Samuels. I will keep this short, but among other things, have a background. I was appointed recently to this group, have a background in transportation policy with a focus on public transit, among other things, and so excited to get more involved in what everyone is doing here and contribute as best I can and move things forward as best we can. So excited to work together, happy to answer any questions, and excited to learn a lot.
Thank you. Mr. Neely?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is James Neely. I am retired. I retired from the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. I worked for the federal government for 47 years. 44 plus of those were with EEOC. This is an interesting area for me simply because transit provides opportunities for employment. And so I am happy to be a member of this committee.
Thank you. We're happy to have you. Did someone say something? Okay. Okay. We are excited about having both of you. We've been meeting members for a long time, so this is really great. Okay. I'm going to go on and we'll just see how this plays out. Chris, do you want to start with old business? And I will just say that Paul is out of town, so you're on your own today.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I really don't have much to report. I just wanted noted for the record, Talby, that normally by now I've tried to get a budget passed for you, and I haven't gotten one from you yet. So I don't want this to be my fault. Because if you remember when I took this job with the council, I had pledged to try to get you guys paid on time. So, but yeah, so we're just waiting to see what the budget's going to look like for you guys. I don't have any major updates, as I'm sure you've seen. The council's got a full plate anyways, and so I will be on here as long as I can. I will have to bail at some point, probably before you get to the fun stuff, but hopefully Tammy can get me caught up later.
Thank you. Toby, I'm sure you're going to have something to say later on about the budget, and I'll let you or Tammy do that. But for now, we're going to move on to new business. Toby, is that you?
Yes, it is, Madam Chair, and thank you so much. So let me just interrupt, if you'll indulge me, Madam Chair. We just can't let you go too early. That's the problem, because you've been so gracious and nice about moving transit and been tolerant of me and my staff. I just want to thank you for all your volunteerism and help with transit in St. Louis County. Madam Chair, thank you so much for your work.
Thank you, and thank all of your staff, everyone, for the opportunity and for being so supportive. I really appreciate it, and I'm just ecstatic that I'm still here.
Well, so am I, quite frankly. And let me please, on behalf of the agency, also welcome Mr. Samuels and Mr. Neely. We try to answer as many questions as we can in this venue, and we like the hard questions too. So please bring them on, because it's only when we confront harder issues is how we get better as an organization. So please bring them on. I'm happy to respond, or of course my staff is happy to as well. And of course, yep. And I will mention Chris, Chris, we're working. Me and Tammy are talking practically every day about that. So, but it is, as you know, our process. I need to get that green light from the county executive's office, and I just don't have it. We are working though, you know that. And so we're gonna, Tammy and I talk multiple times a day about that. And we are, you know what, I think we're gonna have something good and something that we can really hash through, but we're gonna need your brain and your help. And Chris, you've always been very gracious and helpful with that. I'm gonna need you this year. Let me say that.
Okay.
All right.
And I didn't mean to, my comments weren't in any way meant to be derogatory. I was just letting the commission know that usually we're in a different place in this process, but I didn't mean it in any way to be negative. I just didn't want them to think I was dropping the ball.
No. Let me just confirm, so that since we do have new commission members, Mr. Groundhoward's been one of the best at working through the budget in a reasonable way. And I mean that in the most respectful way, Mr. Howard. So, so let's see. It says on new business, I note that Madam Chair, you wanted us to talk about the secure platform open houses. And for that, I'd like to pass to Kevin Scott. Kevin is in the middle of that. And Kevin, how about talking a little bit about how the open houses are going right now?
Sure, thank you. So we have done a number of engagements, both large group engagements, open houses, meetings with different boards of aldermen. And we can certainly provide the committee, or commission, the list or a rundown of all of those. Most recently, in conjunction with the Jefferson Alignment extension and potential extension into St. Louis County, we piggybacked off of those community meetings with portions of the secure platform plan and what that entails, highlighting that to the residents in the city and the county, as well as we just recently held an open house public open house in Belleville for secured platforms as well. So we will continue to do the meetings. There are a number of other engagements scheduled, highlighting the overview and the schedule of the project and answering any questions. So we're moving forward with that. We're prioritizing all of those community type or public engagements as we spread the word across the region what this process is looking like.
Kevin, is there any feedback that you can share with us?
All the feedback has been positive, as a matter of fact, from the type of gating systems that we're using to the timetable that we think that we've put in place with a cascading approach to trying to implement this project across the entire alignment, which ultimately would be 39 platforms as quickly as possible, shaving time off the end of the total project itself. So everything that we've received, all the comments that we've received are positive comments for the most part.
Thank you.
And moving along, Chair, although I'm going to interrupt Kevin with one point, and that is the gates have been ordered. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to say is that this project is real and happening, and we are fully committed to making this happen and excited about how this will literally change the paradigm of safety and security on Metrolink. Kevin should be congratulated for his hard work on this, but we got a ways to go. So it's going well, but our complete staff is dedicated to that. You note next that there's the approval of HB4, which is unprecedented funding from the state of Missouri in the total of the state for $11.7 million. This will net to Bi-State roughly $4 million, as we are the largest transit provider in the state of Missouri. And while that contribution is somewhat dwarfed by Illinois, it is a huge step forward and has to do with continuing the partnerships on programs like SPP, being realistic about our budget, being sure that we have a reasonable growth dynamic, and that has been going well.
Talby?
Yes.
Sorry, this is Izzy. I have Ed James on my phone, just so you all know.
Very good.
I just apologize for the inconvenience of being able to be in the meeting on Zoom. Sorry about that. Continue.
Very good, Mr. James, and welcome to the meeting.
Okay. I'm gonna still try to get on, but hey, I'm sorry about that.
I understand. So we will keep it going, but welcome as the new chair. You have big shoes to fill. Let me say that.
Well, I just got to learn how to get on this stuff, and then I can start filling some shoes. But I did speak with former chairman this morning, and I understand just from talking to her, they're not big, they're gigantic. She seemed like she did an excellent job, and I'd be very privileged to be working with her.
I concur completely. So let's see. Then the next item is actually fare collection update RFP. Now, just so that everybody understands, we are in conjunction with the Secure Platform Project. We are doing an additional investment and therefore upgrade in our fundamental fare technology. Though Kevin is certainly embedded in that, it's really more appropriate to hear an update from Tom Curran, who is on the line too. Tom, could you take that?
Yes. Since our last meeting, Bi-State's fare collection program consultants from Consult Hyperion did provide a draft of 584 technical requirements for our new Metrolink ticket vending machines, and those were reviewed by our CFO and our passenger revenue team by the due date, which was June 30th, for comments. The technical requirements for the ticket vending machines are a list of required elements and functionality that are necessary for the new TVMs that will be installed at all of our Metrolink stations. And they include details such as ADA, security, safety, cash and credit acceptance, and testing requirements. There's also a bus fare box requirements draft that should be delivered for our review later this month. So the consultants are now modifying the technical requirements based on our own staff's input. And then the revised version will become the scope of work for our ticket vending machine RFP, which will be released by Bi-State's procurement department later this month. We're working on a very tight schedule in order to get the TBM RFP published in July. And that's so that we can present a TBM contract to Bi-State's Operations Committee on October 13th. And finally to the Board of Commissioners on November 17th, which is the last scheduled board meeting of the year. So we have a lot of balls up in the air, but we're making progress, and I'd be happy to answer questions.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sounds like it's moving along.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
I thought it was already issued, so I apologize for that.
Very good. So moving on to ridership trends, I'm going to ask Chuck Stewart to talk about our ridership trends and several other issues that are in his tab, including operator staffing shortage. Mr. Stewart, my Chief Operating Officer, could you take that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Roach. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome new members to the commission. Thank you for your service and joining, and I'm going to kind of lead you through our operations highlights for which are contained in your book. But one of the things that's listed on the agenda is our June 12th Metro bus service changes.
I'm going in and out.
Am I going in and out?
Yeah, I on my phone, I'm going in and out. And that might be just a, go ahead and continue.
So anybody else having problems hearing me? Okay, all right. So, so we do service changes every quarter. And as we have been reporting over the last couple of years now, basically since COVID, that we have been making systematic reductions in service because we need to match up our service with our resources, and our major resource being the availability of operators for our system, whether it be bus or Metrolink or Colorado. So we had a service change on June 12th, and we again just tweaked service a bit, a minor reduction. We basically made changes to service provided on nights and weekends. Basically, every quarter we analyze our customer demands, where the key areas are for service to be provided. And in those areas where there's lesser demand and a small tweak will allow us to give better service in one area and not hamper service in another area, we make those changes. So we made one of those changes in June. One of the issues, of course, is our availability of staffing. And on your agenda, it shows that our staffing changes between April and May that kind of consistent of few changes here and there. But we are implementing a number of different programs in order to resolve this shortage. You should recently have heard that we are introducing a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That bonus will be available to all of our Local 788 employees. Local 788 represents our bus operators, our Metrolink operators, our mechanics, our Colorado team. So every one of the areas where we need key employees will be included in this sign-on bonus. It will also include our IBW employees, our dispatchers, and our transit service specialists, Kevin's group. So this was going to affect, we're having a hiring event this Saturday. We're having them approximately every 2 weeks. We are increasing the number of people that are applying. We're accelerating our processes to get them through the system. We're implementing changes in order to keep them in the system. We have mentorship programs. We have enhanced training programs. We're doing everything on both sides of this equation, not only to attract, but also to retain employees as we move forward. So that's a key issue that we're dealing with right now, and it's a balancing act that we continue to work with. Any questions on ridership trends or operator staffing shortages? Yes.
Chuck Lundekamp, I have a question. Your $5,000 bonus, do they have to?
You have to work.
Do the drivers, is there a time limit to get their money? You know, I mean, do they have to be employed for like 6 months or something before they get paid?
It's a year. They get, it's kind of like, they get like, so it's a $5,000 bonus. They get 500 after the first quarter, okay? Then they get another 1,500 after the second quarter, and then that final 3,000 after they have been with us for a year.
Okay, thanks.
And they have to work. They have to work. So that's based on hours, total hours worked, you know, being in the seat, operating a vehicle or preparing, you know, doing mechanical work or whatever. So yes. Any other questions about that?
Chuck, I was just wondering whether or not.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering whether or not you had any work relationships with community-based organizations. I saw the head of the Urban League on Saturday, and I wondered if you had any kind of relationship with them or other organizations within the community in terms of the ability to attract drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. We do now. We always have. You know, we participated in the Urban League Save Our Sons program, supporting them and looking for referrals from that program. So all of the staffing and training type programs in the area, we have relationships with in order to assist the region with this problem. Absolutely. Did I hear another question?
Events coming in there. Are they going to be at the Urban League in Ferguson, or where is that located?
This event, I'll have to get you that information. I don't have that in front of me. Ted, where's the event? See, we always got Ted has all the answers.
Sure.
Where's the event on Saturday?
Yeah, good afternoon. This weekend's event on Saturday is at our Illinois Bus Garage. So we typically will float them around. We've had them at the Brentwood facility. We've had them at our main shop. And then we recently did one at our North County Transit Center. And now we're going full circle back to our Illinois bus. And that's from 10 to 2 on Saturday.
Thank you.
Okay, Chuck, this is Deborah. I just want to know if the apprenticeship program is a part of those hiring incentives, and if so, could you give us a brief synopsis of that program, how it works?
So what you have listed here is a Missouri Public Transportation Apprenticeship Program. That I'm not sure we're still involved with that program, but we do have a program. We are involved in a program that is actually sponsored by ATU International. They have sent representatives here to St. Louis to work with our team in putting this apprenticeship program together. We have approximately 19 experienced operators that have volunteered to be mentors. So everyone coming out of training is immediately assigned a mentor to help them through that process going forward. They also have an apprenticeship program, and we're currently in the process of determining how we can also activate that program within our agency.
Thank you. Any other questions before he moves on? Okay, call a ride.
All right, call a ride. Coloride has been in the news, lots of news about Coloride. Coloride really incentivized that whole process, that whole discussion was part of our rationale for increasing our hiring, our sign-on bonus. When we started in the press talking about Coloride, it basically emphasized the fact that our biggest problem in providing service was not having the human resources to do that. So as part of our attempt to rectify that situation, we started the sign-in bonus program. Coloride, as you know, we made a reduction in our service area on April 10th. Basically, Coloride is a supplemental paratransit service. Legally, it's supposed to operate within 3/4 miles of our fixed route transit, which is our bus and Metrolink. We were operating far outside of that area, and as a result, we're having bad experiences for our customers in terms of service provisions, in terms of reliability. At that point, before we made this change, we were scheduling over 40,000 trips a month, and we were missing 47% of them, which is just, we just can't, untenable. We couldn't continue that. So we cut back to within the legally required service area, and now on a monthly basis, we are scheduling approximately 24,000 trips, but we are completing 80% of those trips. So our denial rate is around to about 19% as of the end of May. I looked at last week and it was down to about 15%. So it is working in terms of providing good, reliable service to the people we are promising service to right now. We continue to work with community organizations in trying to develop other solutions for the region. This is not just a bi-state issue. This is a regional issue. We have adjusted our resources to provide the best service we can in the area that we're required to service. So it continues to be a challenge for the region, and we continue to support finding additional resources for our disabled community. Any questions concerning Colorado?
Any service in their area.
Repeat that.
How are we in terms of Colorado? How are we notifying the customer that we were discontinuing service in their area?
Oh, we've been doing that. We actually made the change in April. I think we started that process months ahead of time. We had public meetings. We sent out letters. We put things on Facebook and all of those areas. We have talked personally to over 1,000 individuals who were impacted by the service. So we did quite a bit going into this process, and we continue to, through our customer service area, communicate with people that would like Colorado service or using Colorado service in order to make sure that we are working effectively on their behalf.
Thank you.
Chuck, this is Deborah. Do you think that the increased shortages in staffing is due to attrition or?
Oh, it's both. It's both. It's attrition as well as the inability to attract and retain. We have a issue with attrition. We have since COVID. We did a program. Well, no, that didn't impact that. That was salaried employees. We have an aging workforce here at Bi-State. So during COVID, with the challenges that were associated with that, there were numerous retirements. We were also challenged by the opportunities in for other companies, other industries, anything basically in the transportation industry. So a lot of people have left given that situation. So yeah, we're fighting both ends of this battle, both the attrition side as well as the attract and retain side. And but I think we're getting to the point now. We're in negotiations now with Local 788, which represents our operators and our mechanics. Through that contract, I think we're going to make it more attractive for people to stay, as well as implement various provisions that will assist us in attracting and retaining as well.
Any other questions?
I think I might have missed the first part of that, but we're talking about the driver's retention and driver's recruitment.
Yep.
Have we ever initiated a exit type review to find out why the employees are leaving? I know a lot of them said they're leaving for better money, and I heard one time where there's better competition out there, or more competition. But have we ever looked into sit down and have a face-to-face with exit drivers or employees to see if it's more than just money and security that they're leaving for?
Absolutely every opportunity that we can. That is part of our processes. We do exit interviews when the people that are exiting make themselves available to do it. We gather that information, we analyze it, and also during this contract negotiation period, we're getting feedback from the union as to why we're experiencing some of these situations, which is helping us to work out solutions as we move forward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on Colorado? So I think last but not least for me is on-demand VIA service. You know, we've had a contract with VIA for several years now. They're kind of a supplementary service for us. They operate in regions, basically in the county. They provide service where it does not make sense. It's not economical for us to provide fixed route service, bus service. They go into areas where you know, it doesn't make sense to send a 40-foot bus. You only got 3 people coming in and out of there during a time period. So VIA has been very successful. In May, we had over almost 20,000 completed rides for VIA. Those rides were 2,000 people basically completed 20,000 rides. It's something that we have considered tweaking a little bit. We have issues with our normal service. We move VIA around just a little to cover those pockets where we may have had to pull back our regular bus service. So VIA is something that, again, it was a pilot project for us. It is teaching us about on-demand service, and as we move forward, we will be using that information to determine what the metro looks like in the future. So again, a pilot program that has proven to be very successful thus far. Any questions on VIA?
This is Ed James again. I guess what my concern is not concern, is the question is on-demand some residents looking to create a future route, or just use it for a particular event, or how does that work? Well, you don't have to answer that. You just give me an answer on it. What is actually the on-demand service?
Well, so the way we're using VIA, basically it's designed to give people transportation from, let's say, home and connect them with our fixed route service. So then they can continue their trip wherever they're going. So it's kind of that go-between, that last mile or first mile kind of thing. And basically it's within zones. But all of the rides with it would be within the specific zone.
Okay, so if I ask a question, this is totally different from Call a Ride, where Call a Ride is basically maybe a one-time, two-time thing, but demand is basically, they want a service that is basically continuous for a few number of people.
Oh, no, it's a variety of people. No, not at all. And I'm not sure that's an adequate, proper description of Call a Ride as well. Call a Ride is paratransit service, okay? If we train people to use our fixed route system, Call a Ride is an option for people that cannot do that. These are people that are going,
I understand that, but the other, how is that different?
How does that differ?
Yeah.
Again, Call a Ride is for our disabled community, ADA certified individuals, whereas VIA would be open to all customers, but basically in service areas that are not adequately covered by fixed route transit.
Okay. I mean, that clears up my mind. I basically thought what I thought it was, but I thought like on demand versus what on demand was basically someone who wanted basically to see if there could be a casino. But we can get at this later. I just wanted an explanation on that, but thank you.
Okay. I'll provide additional detail on that for you next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I think that's my area. Any other questions for me?
Great, Chuck, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Tammy?
Yep. So I'll walk you through the financials through May. And I know there's a specific question related to sales tax, so I'll cover that here just 1 second. So I'll walk you through the revenue section. As you can see, passenger revenues up about 800,000. So we're getting really close to what we budgeted for the year. We think we'll make that and probably exceed that some in June. And then for the city of St. Louis and St. Louis County sales tax, I know that's where the question is. So for the county, it looks like they're down about 12.2 million. So this has been, we've been kind of playing catch up, and I looked at my June numbers. We should be in a good place for June. And what we'll see is that the deficit, any deficit will be covered by COVID relief funds. As far as St. Clair County, they're on target. When we look at the state of Missouri, we're a little bit below, but I think we also received in about $3.7 million from Missouri for this year. Talby was talking earlier about the $4 million that we'll also get in next year. So that will hit here. So you'll see that on in the June statement. And then for federal funding, so what you'll see there is that's really where our COVID relief funds come in. And because there was a need for us to pull that money in so that we could get it in-house related to things that were going on related to clawback, we went ahead and we brought in all of our COVID relief funds. So we brought in 150 million. You'll see that in May. You'll see in June we brought in another 64 million. A lot of these funds, we've just been gradually bringing them in as we need them, but we also have them obligated in ways for different capital programs that we have, and we will talk through that some as we continue to move forward on that. As you can see, advertising slightly down, but interest income's up 8.9 million, in total about 8.6 compared to budget. So when you look at that, you'll see that we have about 431 million in revenue. Backing out the COVID relief funds that are shown through May, that's about 281 million. Going through expenses, you'll see that we are running under budget primarily due to operators when it comes to wages and benefits. And then we have some other areas where we're slightly under. Some of that has been, where it relates to parts and things like that. It's been supply chain. When it relates to fuel, what we have in place is a fuel hedge program, which helps us in a way that allows us to keep in balance as we see fluctuations in fuel. So it's helping us there too. So in total, it looks like our income backing out the COVID relief funds are about 12.6 million. A lot of that is going to be used on the capital program going forward. And we'll see in June the final results. So I'll have that for you next month. Or actually, we don't have a meeting next month, so it'll be in September. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have related to the financial statements.
Tammy, Linda Keeter. I know one of our expenses is contribution to outside entities. What the heck is that?
So that's the shelter program, so the work programs that we have. So that's where we're giving money there. So it's in the budget, and that's what we're focused on with that money.
I'm sorry, I should have asked this before you started, Tammy, but this is just new members. I wanted to make sure that you did receive a copy of the report for this month that I sent you. Did you get your welcome letter and those documents?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. That's where you'll find all the information that Tammy was presenting to you.
Okay.
Okay, Ted, look at you.
Me, good afternoon. So in that same book that Ms. Carter just referenced, the last tab is what we call Marketing and Communications, or MARCOM. And just for the newer commissioner members, I'll go over real briefly this first page. This is looking at a media recap. It also looks at a share, sentiment, and those pieces. So it talks about total mentions, our positive and neutral reach, and then if we were out there actually spending this kind of money, what those positive and neutral publicity value would be. And for the month of May, it was about $3.8 million in that. Off to the right-hand side of that page, you'll see some lovely colors of green, red, and blue. That is what we look at as far as a share of sentiment. And so each of these stories that are listed here comes into our newswire, and it will either show that it's a positive, a neutral, or a negative story. Metro Transit, as you can look at the very bottom, we do a 12-month running list of positive, negative, and neutral sentiment and how it moves. And so we see a lot of movement within that. In May, we saw that our positive and our neutrals made up a little bit over 50% of everything that was there. Most notable were our recruiting efforts that featured Tim Ezell. We also received a large amount of money award from the federal government for new rail cars. The transformation project that is happening in East St. Louis. We were able to open our elevators at our Forest Park station after the flood. Talking about expanding service, Talby mentioned the legislative support, which was another positive. And then also Kevin's projects with the gates and the fencing and the secure platforms are really helping us to move the needle from the positive and the neutral. So we'll see that fluctuation when we see the other pieces. What happens in some situations with a positive story, if they go back in the history and mention something about, let's say, a change in ridership or a downward trend, those kinds of pieces will actually hit us back towards a negative and move us out of that neutral or positive. The other pages are really just kind of an overview of what we do over the period of the month, whether it be through our social media and our marketing campaigns. Typically, we use the social media just in this report to show what is happening across the board within our marketing campaigns. Page 6, just a mention of our open houses with our Metrolink alignment, both in St. Louis City with the Jefferson alignment and also the North County Community Connector, those open houses that Kevin was a part of. And when we do open houses and community engagement, we like all of our team members to come out. So when people have questions about service issues or they want to know more about new services, that we have individuals that are available to do that. And you can just continue to page through this, just shows you some of the blog pieces. We have a team that goes out and does engagement activities and some of the things that we'll do within the community. One of my favorites for this month was New City School. They did a field trip to an adopted bus stop that they have. So, we try to work within the community and the things that are around us. Bike to Work Day was happening in May, and so forth, and through that. If you go back to the very back, page 20, I believe it is, that actually lists all of the activities that were done in the month of May that Kevin was a part of as far as moving our secure platforms forward and being out there in the community. So what you see from our teams within Metro Transit, we're quite engaged in our communities. We might like to make new contacts that can help us from the standpoint of recruiting or just riding our system. And then the final piece back there, ladies and gentlemen, is just some of the news releases that have come out in the last, in the month of May too. So just trying to keep it short. I know there's other people that need to talk as well, but if you have questions for me, I can answer them now or in email as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ted?
Yeah, one, and I don't know if you have an answer to it immediately or not, but when you have more negative months, obviously it looked like there's a ton of variation in the sentiment. Is there more, like, do you notice any impact to ridership or anything like that based on a bunch of negative stories, or does it not have much of an impact?
We've not seen a lot of impact from the standpoint of the ridership trends. No. Which is a good thing.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Thanks.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay. Security up next. I'm not sure which one is going, but Brad or Kevin?
Sure, this is Kevin Scott from Bi-State. I will yield to Captain Kelling, and I'll cover some other issues that are on the agenda. Brad, can you hear us?
Yes.
Do you want to go ahead and go first? Any comments that you'd like to make relative to security? And then I can cover that on the agenda.
Our staffing level remains constant at this point. Nothing major incidents, knock on wood, has been going on. So we've been, yeah, everything's running smooth.
Touch on some very heavy feedback, so I'm not sure if it's, you guys can hear me? Okay, very good. So let me just systematically touch on what's on the agenda and walk you through a couple of different things here. The first quarter task force report. So at the end of every calendar quarter, our analysts generate an incident report relative specific to MetroLink. Where this data comes from is the three law enforcement agencies that we contract with: St. Louis County, the City of St. Louis, and St. Clair County, Illinois. So we generate this report on a quarterly basis. They report crime through the National Incident-Based Reporting System, which has changed. If you're familiar with police reporting on a national level, it used to be done through the Uniform Crime Reporting System, UCR. So the way that the police report crime now is different. So we've had to make modifications. So those reports are generated by the police agencies, and we marry it into one report. I'm hoping that everybody got a copy of it, even the new members. If you did not, we'll be happy to send out that report again. It's also, I believe, posted on our website, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go through a couple of things with it and how it's laid out, just as a reiteration. The first page is an overall summary. And we are very wordy in this report because there are a lot of things that need to be explained. So the first page is a summary in totality. And then as you go into page number 2, it focuses specifically on St. Louis County, page 3, the City of St. Louis, and page 4, St. Clair County. So it talks about the breakdown in incidents, where we've seen the most incidents. It is very, very self-explanatory. So if you've not had a chance to review it, we'll make sure that you get a copy of it. But right now, in quarter 1 of 2023, we realized in total 236 incidents. Our ridership was estimated to have increased over this quarter, quarter one of 2023, 14% over quarter one of 2022. So right now, the total incident rate on MetroLink is 0.15%. So we're far less than 1%. So it's about 15 incidents per 100,000 boardings. Nearly half, or 49% of those incident reports were self-initiated or generated by policing or proactive policing activity, meaning we did not receive a call for service or realize a victim. Because of police or security engagement, they discovered things and self-reported. Now, even though in total, the proactive policing portion of this is 49%, within St. Louis County, of the 126 incidents reported in quarter one of 2023, 75% of those were attributed to proactive policing engagements. So that's very, very positive. When you take a look at St. Louis County, and I think, Ms. Carter, you were mentioning North Handley earlier. We had 76 total incidents at North Handley. There's no question that North Handley can be a difficult location, but we have a very robust police and security presence there, and there's a lot of proactive engagement that goes on. A couple other things that I'd like to point out very quickly is that when we talk about firearms seized off the system, if someone is in possession of a firearm and it's removed by police or removed by security, that is reported as a violent crime under NIBRS, even though they may not have displayed the weapon, acted with the weapon. The fact that they were in possession of the weapon on the transportation system, that has to be reported as a violent incident. So please keep that in mind. So weapon violations accounted for about 34% of the violent offense types that we reported. And again, this high number is likely due to the proactive engagements by law enforcement. And all of this is explained in the report as you go through it. So I think the best thing to do is if you've not had a chance to look at it, we'll get that to you. If you have had a chance to look at the quarter one incident report, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions specific to that at this time. So does anybody have any questions relative to the crime numbers? All right. Moving on, July Secured Platform Plan update. With the Secured Platform Plan, again, this is the gating, high security gating and fencing, and the reestablishment or the reconfiguration of a closed circuit television system, upgrading and repositioning and tying all of that technology into the real-time camera center here at Metro Transit. At the end of every month, we send out a status report of this overall project. You have to keep in mind that this is a very cumbersome endeavor. This is not just about putting in gates and fences. This is a whole communications integration that we're making just specifically on the SPP side. And then we are marrying everything that we're doing to the new fare collection system, which makes it even more taxing. And so this is a very difficult process that we're walking through, but one that we feel like that we have a very good handle on. And we can also send out in totality what the overall implementation schedule is. So to answer your question from earlier, Ms. Carter, North Handley will fall into the next package, which is package number 3. That includes Lambert, Umsel, and North Handley. We also put together.
Know where you're starting with that phase 1?
Phase 1 is a beta test, and phase 1 will start at Emerson Park, Jackie Joyner Kersey, Washington Park, and College, which is Southwestern Illinois College in Belleville. So those are the first 4 locations that we're starting with. And there's a couple of important points to note here. We know as we maneuver through package number 1, we will not have integration with the new fare collection system as we conclude that package. And so to ensure that these gates are security impactful from the very beginning, we'll have to actually staff those locations. We also selected those different locations because there are some anomalies there where roadways are positioned to platforms, and how we're going to maneuver around and deal with some of the challenges that we'll face that will play out time and time again as we move down the alignment. We have to ensure that the gating system communicates with our internal Genetec system so that we can override the gates and operate the gates until the fare collection system is integrated into that. So there are a number of different considerations that we're going through. So package number 1 is the 4-station beta test. We are moving to bid construction on August 1st. The gating systems for package 1 have all been ordered. The manufacturer of the gates is a company called Orion, and their distributor here in St. Louis is Will Electronics. They won the bid process to provide the gating system. So all of that's been ordered. I'm going to send out and make sure that the new members have a slideshow, a copy of a slideshow that we've been showing with the most updated information. And included in that slideshow is a list of the overall schedule. We'll make sure that we get that out to you this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
And then one other thing very quickly, pull back up the agenda. You also have in here an update on the metal detector process or the metal detector pilot. So just as a reiteration, we have provided a recommendation for a pilot program to influx random metal detection scanning at different MetroLink platform locations. We would not be able to staff or create a dynamic such as the TSA does at the airport. It would be very unrealistic and it would hamper our operation, our connectivity. But we did propose a random pilot where we do random checks in an equitable fashion at different locations throughout the day. So we have acquired one walkthrough metal detector system. We have constructed a policy for operation and how we would run this program. That policy was vetted by legal. It was approved, and we are training our employees. They all have to sign off on what these procedures will be. There are also some considerations with any metal detector system, some medical considerations as far as pacemakers or other medical pumps that could be impacted. So there are a number of different things that have to go into the policy and the training. We want to make sure that that is done. So we're going to start out with a 4-week pilot, and we will be able to determine at that point what impact a random detection scanning process has. And then we could possibly expand it. But again, we will never get to the point where every platform will have a TSA type checkpoint. And there, and as we move through the pilot, I'll be able to talk to you about what our findings are, what challenges we face. We are not acting in a law enforcement fashion. We are simply making sure that people comply with no firearms on the system. If they do not want to go through the scanning system or they have something in possession, a weapon in possession, they will not be allowed to access the platforms. We are not generating criminal cases or acting in any way in a law enforcement capacity with this pilot. Any questions?
I just had one question. I noticed on the incident report that none of the Illinois stations were included. Is that a different problem or a different design, or did I just miss something?
So on the MetroLink task force report, is that what you're referring to?
The incident report.
Yeah,
Incidents by station.
Right, they are the last You asked about Illinois?
Yes.
Yeah, they're the last page.
Okay, I didn't see
St.
that.
Clair, yeah, St. Clair County Sheriff's Department.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And just that's an important point, and to let you know how well the officers are doing with the county and how proactive they're being. Of the 126 total incidents in Q1 for St. Louis County, 75% are attributed to proactive engagement by the law enforcement officers who are out there on the system. So we're very happy with that. As we see ridership continue to increase, we see that the total incident rates across MetroLink have stagnated. So that's what we're looking for.
This is Ed James, and I'm gonna wait to see the report and the procedures. My main concern with now, if you have, let's say, a metal type detector comparable to a TSA, one, do we have the manpower to basically review and check each individual that may have made the metal detector go off, to either question them or search them? And do we have the legal right to search somebody if they say they don't want to be searched? With the event of now conceal and carry or non-conceal and carry, that metal detector is going to be going through the roof. And a lot of these stations are people going back and forth to work that may not or may know or may not know what they have in their possession that will let the make the metal detectors go off. So those are my concerns. Do we have the personnel to review these incidents, and what happens if we delay somebody too long and they miss a train or something? Those are the issues that I can see coming up, and a lot of people really mad, or in terms of best of term, pissed off because they are being held or being checked for something like this.
Sure, those are all good questions. So I just want to kind of go back through this very quickly. So we are not in any way creating a checkpoint at every station. The system that we bought, there's only one system that will be deployed, and it will be moved from location to location a couple of hours at any given spot on a daily basis. We are not acting in a law.
I understand that it's not going to be system-wide to begin with, but even that one or two spots that we're going to do a test that, they can't create the same type of problems. But again, I'm gonna wait to see your report.
Well, we're going to begin the pilot program, and then I'll be able to update you as we move forward with that. But it's very simply, if you do not want to go through the metal detector system and comply with the scanning, you'll not be allowed to access the platform. If you have something in your possession and you refuse to comply with the standard of law, which does not allow firearms on the Metro Transit system, either MetroLink or MetroBus, then at that particular checkpoint, you will be denied access.
I mean, those are the issues that I'm concerned with. Is somebody who's going to be denied access because they refuse to go through. And the additional personnel I was considering or thinking of was one, personnel to check the person, and two, additional security to handle the frustrated passenger. But let's wait and see what happens.
Right. I just want to clarify that it is illegal to carry a firearm on MetroLink or MetroBus. It is illegal. So the person that's being inconvenienced that perhaps has a firearm, they would be committing a felony if they accessed MetroLink with a firearm.
Okay. Then I totally agree with what you're saying. And like I said, I will wait to see the total report just to see how it's worded. And what type of notifications we have to make sure that at every station is consistent. And I know it's out there, but it has to be consistent.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Kevin and Captain Kelling. I will just say this, that for the new members, I know this is a lot to digest. So I think all of you all have my email. And if you have questions, please feel free to contact me and I can direct you to the right individual to help you. With that said, we're going to go to our favorite agenda item, county transportation. Adam or Ray?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. We've got nothing. Any questions?
That was so short, Ray. I didn't hear what you said.
I say that's the same report you give us every month.
Well, you know, we're not creative types, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Look, you all have done so good that I'm going to give you a break next month. So I hope that you enjoy the time off and look forward to seeing you again on September 11th. Was there any questions at this point from any of our new members?
I would like to make a final comment if possible. I really thank Deborah for stepping up to the plate and taking charge of the meeting. I have had difficulties getting in and on the meeting by a couple of avenues, and hopefully we can get those taken care of by the next meeting. But I really like to take my hat off to Deborah for stepping in and taking over and doing the job that it seemed like she's very capable of doing. And I thank you, Deborah. And for the rest of the members of the commission, I'd be looking forward to working with you and see what we can do to make Bi-State and Metro what it's supposed to be. But thank you very much, and hopefully I can get this thing to working. And next week or next meeting, you can see me. Maybe what I do is send a photo shot out of me, and I'm not the grumpy old man. Some people I look like Gabby Hayes from the old Roy Rogers movie, but I think it'd be a good pleasure to look and see everybody and to work with you, and I'm looking forward to that in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and it was certainly my pleasure. All right, see everybody September 11th, and to the new members, I did send you a copy of the schedule as well, so that should be on there. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.